Are you looking to move to Winder, Georgia? Well, I'm going to talk to you about some of the pros and the cons of living in Winder, Georgia, and just talk to you a little about my experience of what I've had as I've lived here in Winder, Georgia. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, if you're new to this channel, really fast before we start, my name is Samuel Stott, and as of 2 years ago, my wife and I moved out here to Georgia and have loved being here ever since. And so if you're wanting to be the first to know about what it's like to live in Winder or the surrounding areas, be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications. That way you can be the first to know about what it's like to live in Winder, Georgia, or any of the surrounding areas. Without further ado, let's talk about the pros and cons of Winder, Georgia. All right, everyone, we're outside in the beautiful Georgia weather right now. And we're going to talk about, again, we're talking about the pros and the cons of Winder, Georgia, and living in Winder. So let's start with the first pro. The first pro is it is a small town. Now, if you're like me and you love small towns and you like that kind of the feel of the local events, local community things, feeling that like close-knit community kind of feel, the friendliness, all that stuff, Winder might be a great place for you because it offers a lot of those things. This Winder, is a growing city. It's got 18,000 residents right now, so of course very small, but it is growing, and that's a great thing to be around. I love that. I love that feel of saying, I know some of the people in town. I know the local business owners. I know the local shops, the downtown areas. It's kind of fun to get to know the stories behind a lot of those stuff, especially when it comes to those local things. For example, one of the local parks that we have, it's called Legacy Park. That was actually donated by the community and it was built for the community. So to have a city and a community thing, they built this beautiful park for kids and for people to go enjoy. And so I know a couple of people that were on the board for that, and it's just kind of fun to know those people and to feel really almost involved in all the things that are going on in Winder. So if you're looking for kind of a smaller town and that community feel, Winder does offer that. And it's in my mind, it's one of the best pros you can have. But that's me, because I'm a small town kid. I like kind of the smaller, the slower paced life, and that's what something that Winder offers. So that is pro number one. Pro number two would be accessibility. Winder is not like a normal small town, not normal small town, but like other small towns you kind of think of where it's like drive 50 miles out to no man's land and there you go, you're in a city. It's a little bit different because it's right smack in the middle of two major cities. More east, you got Athens, and then more west, you got Atlanta, and of course the major suburb of all of Atlanta. So you've got a lot of these major cities all within about a 20 to 30 minute drive. So you're not just kind of stuck here. You have those, but what makes it nice is it's not just you're existing, but you have accessibility to those. So we've got 316, which is a major highway kind of south part of Winder. It drives you right to Atlanta or right out to Athens. So it's a great little access point. We have a lot of access areas like ramps or whatever. You get onto to that highway, and so it makes it easy to get to those areas. But as well, you've got I-85, which is up to Athens. So we have our Winder Highway you take right up there. Get on the I-85, and you're cruising right into Atlanta, or going up to South Carolina, whichever you want to choose. If you want to go to South Carolina, you want to go to Atlanta, you've got that option there. Or go to the lakes. I guess that makes more sense if you're going to the lakes. That is a really nice pro because with Winder, you're not just stranded here. You have that accessibility. Now, we'll talk about this in a second, but way back why that could also be a con. But in terms of pro, if you're just going to Atlanta, once every couple of months, you're going for a concert, maybe you're going to fly, out of the airport, whatever, Hartsville Airport, you've got about an hour and a half drive, just depending on the time and where you're going to. So you're not stranded, but it's something that you can get out there. Now, if you're going there a lot more, that's where it might turn into a con. And so we'll talk about that in a second. It's a little flash forward, I guess. Anyway, little spoiler of what we're going to talk about in a minute. Pro number 3 would be the affordability of homes. And we're going to talk about two kind of pros with it, especially the homes, but affordability in general as well. Winder's utilities are much more affordable compared to especially the U.S. average. And so about 11% lower on cost of utilities, and kind of in Georgia here as well. Because again, it's a smaller town, so you kind of have that affordability there. In other aspects, you have the affordability, especially in the homes that you see here. You can buy a lot more of a home or a lot more land for a little bit less, especially compared to Atlanta and the suburbs of Atlanta and kind of moving out. Because again, it's a smaller town, so you do have that affordability option. You can find, a home under 300,000 very easily with, an acre of land, maybe half an acre, or you can go up to 800,000. You're looking at 5 bedrooms, 3,000 square foot homes, 4,000 square foot homes. You can buy newer homes. A lot of options, especially with that affordability. You can buy more of a home for less, out of your pocket, which is something that if you're looking for that, could be a great option, as well as you considering all these options. You're considering all the pros and cons of Winder, Georgia, right? That's why you're looking at this video. So, pro number 4, going along kind of the affordability of housing, is actually the housing in general. I consider this a great pro because Winder's kind of the small town and it's an older town. You have a lot of options in terms of, homes from really old. So if you want to get like the old classic Southern style homes, a ranch brick home, or kind of one of those like homes with pillars in front, all that fun stuff, 2-story kind of homes. You can find that here, especially those older in the 1900 homes. So if you want to, go find one of those, make it your own, take out kind of the older things, put in new stuff, put in new cabinetry, do your DIY stuff, flip it, whatever those things are. You've got that option because Winder offers it. It's great, especially in the historic downtown part of Winder. So there's a lot of older homes, which is a great option. Then you've got newer homes, especially because as Winder's growing, you've got new construction coming out here. So you've got the options of buying a brand new home in a new community with a lot of amenities, or you've got the option of buying an older home, fixing it up, or taking it for what it is right now and living in that. So there's a lot of good options, and then there's styles and everything. There's a lot of styles here in Winder between the older ranch style homes to the newer homes. So you've got that variability, which gives you a lot of options. And I think having options is great. So that's a good pro to have in Winder. And I don't think it's something that you can, it's great to know that. Pro number 5 is activities. Pro kind of activities with Winder. As I mentioned earlier, it's a small town community. And so you've got a lot of you've got the community events. You've got our local concerts you can go to and visit in downtown. You've got the downtown area, which I think is just a fun area to walk through. There's little antique shops, a lot of local boutiques. There's the restaurants and like the local shops like Casey's I've talked about in other videos. And you've got like Gabrielle's, fun little restaurants that are just kind of special to Winder. So in terms of activities, you've got that kind of specialty feel. And then as well, Winder is known for Fort Yargo, which is a lake right here in Winder. It's a state park. That's a great little lake. You can go walk around. There's hiking trails all around it. There's camping, all that stuff. You can also go mountain biking. So if you're like me and you like to mountain bike, there's 2 trails in around Fort Yargo. One's kind of the shorter one. So if you got less time, you take that. If you got the more time, you go take the bigger one. It's a little more of a challenge and a little more exciting. So that's a great option. Some days, I'm feeling like I need a bigger workout. I go do the longer one. Other days, there's like a bug just landed on me. There's a con, the bugs. A lot of bugs here in Georgia. Anyways, there's a lot of options with kind of what you can do in Fort Yargo with also the beach access. You can go hang out at the beach, go jump in the lake. You can go fishing. You also got a miniature golf course right in Fort Yargo, as well as pickleball courts and like little picnic areas to go have a barbecue. So Winder has that kind of outdoor activities. They kind of focus a little more on that, I'd say, because you do have those, walk around downtown. You also have those fun shops, but then you've got parks like Legacy Park, which I talked about earlier, and then you've got Fort Yargo. So that would be pro number 5 is the activities kind of looking for in Winder. Now, on the reverse side of that, the con, one of the cons in Winder is we don't have a ton of stuff. Now, as I'm kind of talking about it, again, I'm coming back to the small town feel. Small town is great. What you're going to find is if you're used to having everything really in your city, you're not going to get that here in Winder. We don't have a Costco. We would love it. Costco, you're watching this, put a Costco in Winder next. It'd be awesome. But we don't have that here. We've got 30 minutes away, but you're going to have to drive to go to your Costco or, Top Golf or other activities like that, like amusement parks, concerts, like big concert halls or, massive sports games besides your local ones. You're going to have to drive to those areas, as well as restaurants. There are quite a few restaurants here. There's not a ton. And so if that's really important to have a lot of different kind of restaurants and food, Winder may not have that. There are some here, but it's just not in comparison to other cities surrounding Winder that you're gonna be lacking in that area, because Winder does kind of focus on a little more of that the local businesses. You're gonna have those local shops. We have like a Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, McDonald's, and all those classic ones. And of course, we can talk grocery stores like Walmart, Ingles, Publix. Uh, you just got a Kroger, but it's actually in Houston, and looking down in Bethlehem. You got a Target here, so we do have some of those kind of major grocery stores. But when you're looking for like even a mall, for example, the Mall of Georgia, big, massive mall, but it's about 20, 30 minutes away. It's not here in Winder. So if you're used to kind of that kind of feel where you've got a lot of stuff all around you, Winder may not have that. It is, again, a smaller community. So that can be the con, is kind of the, I guess you could just say, it's just a con of what we have access to. Again, it could be the con of small town. So that's con number one. Con number two is walkability. Winder is not like other towns where you can walk to your grocery stores, you can walk down the street and stuff like that. There are some areas, again, in the historic downtown, you have some sidewalks and areas like that. You can go walk to the parks, go walk to downtown. But when you get kind of further out, there's not a lot of sidewalks or things like that. And especially unless you're in a neighborhood that built the sidewalks, you're not going to have those. It's just not in the city of Winder. So walking around and being able to go, or run to whatever place or go walk to your grocery store, bring your groceries back, you're going to need a car here. It's pretty important. And that's just kind of part of getting around town, getting to all the areas you need to. You're going to need to have a vehicle to kind of get around Winder, Georgia. So just a good thing to keep in mind. Con number three is, going along with walkability, is also kind of the accessibility. If you commute to Winder, Georgia, if you commute to, not Winder, you commute to anywhere outside of Winder, you're not working in Winder, you can do that every day, and it's good to know that you're about 30 minutes minimum to your work. So if you're working in Buford, Duluth, Lawrenceville, Athens, even into Atlanta, you got a 30-minute drive at least, and you got to take that into account. It's 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, might be even closer to an hour, especially if you're in Atlanta. You're more like an hour, hour and a half. Although Winder has a small town feel and has the accessibility, you do need to be aware of that the con is there are going to be commutes if you're not working here in Winder. So the last one, and this isn't really a pro or con, it's up to you to decide, but I think it's good to talk about it, is the weather of not really Winder, but just Georgia in general, especially this kind of part. It is humid. If you're like me and you weren't used to humidity, that was just a shock. It was coming here and having the summers where you just walk outside and you're sweating. It's good to know about that. Now, if you love the humidity, you love the heat, this is going to be great because we don't really get that cold. You're not like struggling with snow, like, up north, you're not struggling with that kind of stuff, but you do have the humidity and the cold, so you kind of have a different feel, but doesn't really get freezing. I mean, we had one day that it snowed last year, which was really cool. And I mean, I miss the snow. I'm a big snow person. So not having that around me all the time is kind of sad. But I also do love the weather. Like right now, the reason why I'm out here is because it is great weather. I mean, fall time in Georgia is just beautiful. There's nothing better, in my opinion. There's just nothing better fall in Georgia because all the beautiful fall leaves. You got the beautiful air. You can go sit outside, chill. But in the summertime, it comes with the caveat of it's hot. It's pretty hot. You got a couple months there where you just are in survival mode. And if you're not at a pool, just stay inside with the AC on because otherwise it's just brutal. So that's something that you can take that into your mind and say, is that a pro or a con? Because the reality is, some people will consider that a con, some people will consider that a pro. For me, I'm okay with the weather because, as much as I miss the cold and as much as I really love the cold growing up. I'm a crazy person that loves the cold. But I do like the heat, and I love just being able to go outside almost year round. I mean, November last year, I went, a friend of ours, we were jumping in a lake in November. So like, there's places in the US that you can't do that. And here, you can go swimming in the lake in November. It's a little colder, but it's still great weather. So I think it's a pro in my mind, but that's for you to decide as well. Well, hopefully you were able to find and get a little bit of good information on what Winder has to offer, and especially the pros and the cons of living in Winder, Georgia. So whether you're looking to move here in 9 days or even 90 days, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to be able to help you make that move as smooth as possible. So give us a call, go to the chat, comment down below, set up a meeting with us. You can scan our QR code in our YouTube channel, or just schedule a meeting with us. We'd love to be able to talk to you about what you're looking for and help you find your next home. So until the next video, we hope to see you again. Have a great day. Bye.